Senator from Arkansas.
Mr. President, it is such an honor, such a pleasure to be with my fellow senator from Arkansas, Senator Cotton, as we rise today to honor Pine Bluff detective Kevin Collins, who died as a result of injuries he sustained while in the line of duty on Monday, October 5th. Detective Collins was a passionate person about law enforcement and serving the citizens of Pine Bluff. He served his community not only as an officer of the law, but also as a mentor and a leader. It was reported that he wanted to be a police officer since he was 3 years old. In an interview with the Pine Bluff Commercial in 2018, he said, I quote, "Ever since I was little, I saw law enforcement as a service and something I could be proud of." He worked his entire life to achieve that dream. And it came true 5 years ago when he was hired by the Pine Bluff Police Department on June 8, 2015. He was first assigned to the Patrol Division and worked his way up to the Violent Crimes Unit. Detective Collins loved being a police officer and enjoyed building relationships with the men and women he worked alongside, as well as the citizens that he served. His colleagues appreciated his enthusiasm, his hard work, and dedication, which he demonstrated each and every day, both in and out of uniform. Detective Collins was passionate about making a difference in the lives of others. As a mentor to at-risk boys during the department's 2-week youth empowerment camp, he was a role model for teens, encouraging good behavior and reinforcing the importance of making good decisions. In his short time with the Pine Bluff Police Department, he had a long list of successes that included taking a large number of guns off the streets and earning the department's Officer of the Year award for 2017 for his actions in saving a 95-year-old resident while responding to an apartment fire. Detective Collins lived a faithful life devoted to Christ as a member of New Life Church, Pine Bluff. Pastor Matt Mosler says Detective Collins had a great heart for service. He took that heart for service and put his faith into action, taking the initiative to make his community better. We rely on law enforcement officers like Detective Collins to keep communities safe, to keep us safe. His death is a tragic reminder of the risk law enforcement officers face each day when they put on their uniform and leave the comforts of their homes and their loved ones to serve and to protect. Detective Collins was a true hero. Our hearts break for his family, his colleagues at the Pine Bluff Police Department, and community members. I pray they will find comfort from the outpouring of support for this beloved brother in blue. Senator Cott, I yield to you.
Thank you. Senator Boozman, the men and women of law enforcement in Arkansas could have no greater champion in the United States Senate than Senator John Boozman. It is always an honor to join him on the floor, but today it is a sad and solemn honor to be here to commemorate the life of Detective Kevin Collins. Detective Collins of Pine Bluff had known since he was the young age of 3 that he wanted to be a police officer. His stepdad worked for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. His mom was a teacher. So from an early age, the role models in Kevin's life inspired him to serve others, and serve he did, above and beyond the call of duty. For a time, he worked as an emergency services dispatcher. Then he worked for the Arkansas Department of Corrections. 5 years ago, he realized his childhood dream of joining his hometown police department to serve the community he knew and loved. Detective Collins was part of the Violent Crimes Unit, which means he worked on some of Arkansas's most dangerous cases. He had a special passion for taking illegal guns off the streets and mentoring young people in the community. His hard work was noticed and rewarded. Just 2 years after joining the force, Detective Collins was named Officer of the Year after rushing into a burning apartment building and rescuing a 95-year-old woman trapped inside. When he received that award, Detective Collins reflected on his lifelong dream of becoming a police officer. which he described as a service and something I could be proud of. You could say that Kevin Collins was destined to be a police officer. Tragically, he was also destined to die as one, much too soon. Earlier this month, Detective Collins was tracking a suspected murderer who was holed up at a hotel. A gun battle broke out. Detective Collins and his fellow officer, Lieutenant Ralph Isaac, were hit during this exchange and rushed to the hospital. Lieutenant Isaac has begun to recover, but sadly, Detective Collins did not. He went home to be with the Lord at the age of 35, leaving his family, his community, and our state heartbroken over the loss. Detective Collins' death is a tragedy and a stark warning and reminder of the dangers police officers face every day. Detective Collins joins 231 of his fellow officers who've died in the line of duty in America just this year. But it would be a mistake only to mark Detective Collins' death. We ought also to learn from his example in life. Kevin Collins was a guardian of Pine Bluff, whether in his capacity as an officer or an off-duty as a security guard at his local church. When he received the Officer of the Year award in 2017, Detective Collins said that being a police officer was about extending a lifeline to save others. We'll never know how many lives Kevin Collins saved, but we do know that his hometown is now safer and more peaceful because of his years of service. Pine Bluff was blessed to have a guardian the likes of Kevin Collins. Now his watch on earth is over. He's looking down on us from above. May he rest in peace.